Now, are you able to see my screen? So as I already said, from tomorrow, your meeting link will be changing. Then, okay? Check in your mailbox, either inbox or spam, and then get connected. Every day it will be changing till this weekend. And from now onwards, your meeting link will be a new meeting link for every class. Okay. So one of the especially whenever you're working with your AML is what are the types of machine learning that basically existing? Now, many times people misunderstand this question to be constructively for the sake of machine learning algorithm. No. On the broader level, on the highest side, there are four primary types of machine learning, with each of which is used in different scenarios depending on the available data and the nature of the problem that you are basically solving. So first you should know what is the type of your problem and the amount of data what you have and the scenario for which you are fundamentally trying to go with the construct of representation. These things should be defined in the process very properly. And then you should think of the type of the machine learning what you are trying to fix. Am I clear? Now, if this construct is not fundamentally applied, man, you need to always understand you will have some kind of basic confusion. You'll be having some kind of basic confusion always. Be very, very clear about that. Just a minute when I'm having some issue with my. Are you able to see my screen, man? I'm not getting the feedback here. Right. So the first category of machine learning is supervised learning. Supervised learning in the sense you have certain amount of information with respect to the features and the properties of the data. The classification of the data is also very clear. And then you are giving this information that is already identified by its a classification or category to your algorithm, where your algorithm can understand the criteria and the category of the data and it can start working. So you should understand in a supervised learning, whenever we are operating, the model is trained on the labeled data set. Now, labeled data set in the sense, your data is recognized by its a category of data. Okay, what is a category to which it belongs? That's very clear. That's very clear. We consider that kind of data as labeled data. If you are a student coming from the database side, I just want you to catch up one simple construct. Okay. Now, for students coming from the databases side, okay, just concentrate. Almost everybody has an idea on databases, so I don't think it's difficult for you. If I am saying, suppose select star from EMP. Now, when I got this particular piece of the data, according to databases, generally on the presentation side, we call them as what? Column headers. Yes or no? Am I correct? We don't generally call them as column names. We call them as column headers. Or they are also called as what? Labels. Am I correct? Now, in technical side, if you are basically concentrating, these column headers or column labels are coming from where? According to you, can just think these column labels or column headers are coming from where? From the metadata. Yes or no? From the metadata. Now, this is your actual business data. Do you agree with me? Represented as data values. Am I correct? Now, this is called as data set in analytical world, we call this as data set. Am I clear? So don't you think that the story is same, but the only thing is the kind of words and terminologies are changing. Am I correct? So this particular data, whatever you are trying to speak here, this particular data, whatever you are trying to speak here, these things, what you are seeing is called as labels. These are called as they're called as labels in ML. Am I clear? So if you are having any data on which you are implementing the training, you're implementing the model for training, we call such kind of machine learning as supervised learning. Means you are telling the algorithm very clearly that this data is a category of employee numbers. This data is category of employee names. This data is category of jobs. Are you getting me? We are clearly instructing what category the data belongs to. Is that point clear to you? And which particular category of data is more important? If that data you are utilizing for your purpose, we call such a data as features. Okay. Each one is called as one featurement. All these features together, they are representing one object called as what? Employee. All these features together, they are representing an object called as what? Employee. Are you understanding why generally when you're attending your AI or ML implementations, for AI, you don't need the knowledge of the databases, but at least when you're attending into your ML, you need fundamental idea of recognizing the data. Databases is not important, but at least the fundamental idea of recognizing the data by its properties and everything. Therefore, even if you're having the knowledge of Excel, it's okay. But having the knowledge of databases, you have an idea of transformation logic and all those things. Therefore, it becomes easy for you to work out. Am I clear? So don't get confused on the rule of the terms, man. Am I clear with you? So whenever you are implementing in supervised learning, where the correct output, that is nothing but the label is provided for each example of what you're implementing. Okay. The outputs are clearly labeled and we will tell employee numbers means they look like this. Employee names means they look like this. So remember, this is actually what column of values for a database developer. Yes or no? But here we try to tell that, we try to say that this piece of the information, whatever you are having here, is nothing but example of identifying how employee numbers look like. Are you getting me? So we are giving this to the machine learning, saying that employee numbers will look like this. So these are data values for you, but these are actually what? These are actually what? These are actually considered as examples, man. Okay, be very, very clear. Don't forget. Okay, where the correct output, whatever you are having with you, that output you will try to represent with a label, and we provide some examples of the values, how under that label the values will look like. So this data is coming from where? This data is coming from where? From the real time. Yes or no? Where you already recognize them as employee numbers. Now we are telling machine learning algorithm that whenever you see a label called as employee number, this is the format and this is the kind of structure, this is the kind of properties with which an employee number will get represented. So in future, if any number is found, it is an employee number or not, your machine learning algorithm should understand. Am I clear? Means after I build my model, I will just give a number. I'll just give a number to my machine learning algorithm. It should finally tell me this is an employee number or this is not an employee number. If it is able to tell it is an employee number for exactly the employee number I gave, don't you think that the machine started understanding and learning from the data now? Now let us say like I gave an employee number, but my algorithm after running, it is saying that it's not an employee number. So it's very clear that somewhere my algorithm has not understood the properties, behaviors and features of the employee number. Therefore, it is unable to recognize employee numbers in real time. Is that point clear to you? So for you, these are actually for database developers, these are actually what mean? Values. For a machine learning expert, these are actually what? Examples representing that feature of the label of that object. Am I clear? Any confusion? So the algorithm, what it will do now, when these examples are provided, the algorithm learns to map inputs to outputs based on these labels. Inputs to outputs based on these labels means what? You just watch carefully. If suppose say like I made my algorithm to understand that employee numbers will look like this. Okay. Now just try to understand. I gave one input value to my program at runtime. Okay. Now once I gave this value, what it will do? It will try to take this value, go and cross analyze this value on the criteria and composition of the existing pattern that is available. If the pattern is looking suitable to the criteria of representation, finally it can expose my particular data saying what? It is an employee number. Now, many times students coming from databases and programming, they will think that this value is compared for the sake of what? existing or not. No, the pattern. Are you understand the difference between pattern and the value exactly? So the given pattern, is it not looking something similar to the example of values that are existing? So by common sense, my algorithm is understanding that this is an employee number. Now it is you who should validate whether it is an acceptable employee number or not. Is that clear? Now let me say that I gave once again the input data. The input data I gave is like this. Now this data is taken and once again it is done with what? From the example data, what it is having, it is following that example data now. Cross comparisons of the pattern is taking place. Now in the example data, whatever I gave, I don't think there's any characters in between the processes or no. So if my machine learning algorithm is working very perfectly and the model has been successfully given with its intelligence, then it should be in a position to say that possibly not an employee number. Machine learning. If you are going into deep learning, it should give reasons also. Okay. Reasons also it should give. The reason, one of the reasons it can say is identified a character in combination to the numbers, but did not found in the given sample any employee with alphanumeric combinations. Because in the given sample, such combination is not there, possibly it's not an employee number. And if your deep learning is a deep learning will even tell you the reasons. Am I clear? Machine learning will only finalize this. Imagine your machine learning is confirming this also as an employee number. Then don't you think that according to your analysis, which should not be an employee number, it's saying it's an employee number. Means somewhere your model is going wrong or not? So you should make the model to get corrected once again. So understand the basic construct of the process. Your programming is done, but programming is done with a common sense integrated approach. So the algorithm learns to map inputs to outputs based on these labels. Are you understanding this statement? So what are the key applications? There are many, I'm giving you very fundamental examples. Predicting house prices based on features like the square footage and number of rooms. Generally, any housing price will depend upon these two factors or not. Maybe some other features are also there. Area, in which area your house is there. What is a locality identified? So many things could be there. But minimum, if you give the square footage and number of rooms, don't you think that it should have the intelligence of predicting the house price in that particular location? You just take one simple example, man. Don't you think that nobroker.com in India, is it not giving you some kind of notification saying that your property in this particular area is now subjected to a cost of rental of this much? Do you want to put a advertisement for sake of rent? Long back, we never know what is the rental price of any particular house in any particular area. But today is not these particular softwares are selling, these kind of tools are helping the owners to increase their rents in their areas automatically. So there is something they're working with. The same way, classifying your emails as spam or not as spam. How exactly any particular emails that come to you, actually all emails should go into inbox. Am I correct? But are they not automatically moving into promotions, forums, spam automatically in your Gmail? Okay, sometimes it's not exactly correct, no doubt. But don't you think that Gmail is using some kind of intelligence to read your email and then it is automatically segregating your email into different areas? How it is knowing? Means one thing is very clear. Is your say like I'm sending you an email, man. Is your email is private? You're thinking, but don't you think that Gmail is reading your email before it is given to you? This is where the world asks now, if AI ML comes, can you promise the privacy and security? So technically, simple examples which come under supervised learning. In supervised learning, we will tell by giving some input parameters, what are those particular example values, and taking them as cross comparison, your machine learning algorithm will classify your data automatically. The most very common and simple supervised learning algorithms that are at least expected by the first time learner: linear regression, decision trees, and support vector machines. Okay. When you say you have done some supervised learning projects in your resume, at least your interviewer will check that you are able to answer these three algorithms. Definitely. Is that point clear to you? Then we have another kind of category of area of machine learning called as unsupervised learning. Unsupervised learning, in the sense, the name itself is telling you, you have data with you, but you don't have labeled data with you. You don't have labeled data with you. Okay. In unsupervised learning, the model works with unlabeled data. Data is there, but data is not labeled. Now, when your data is not labeled, confirming the data belongs to which particular type of category in that particular construct of the business scenario, is it not very challenging? Hello. So do try to understand the criteria of the process and requirement. Okay. Hello. Are you able to hear me? We lost the data in between. We lost the voice in between. Now you just watch very carefully. Okay. You know that, but I'm just trying to speak about it. Okay. Just to make you understand this. Okay. Now you're having this data, man. Okay, you know that I queried this data from EMP table, and you know the column names also. Imagine you are getting this kind of example data from the real time. In this data, do you know what is the object this data belongs to? No. Do you know the business requirement or the scenario or the circumstance under which this data is generated? No. Do you know each column of data actually belongs to which particular type of property or a or a kind of feature? No. I mean, this data is totally missing what, man? This data is totally missing what? It's missing metadata. Yes or no? This is missing metadata. Don't you think that this is totally called as unstructured data? The previous data is called as what? Which is having labels, semi-structured. This is called as unstructured. Are you understanding the meaning of unstructured and semi-structured according to the concept of data analysis? If you are my Oracle database students, man, don't you think that this is the first thing we discuss in the starting level of our Oracle course, where I explain the concept of structured and unstructured data only using this kind of representation? Do you people remember, man? So the story of your journey towards artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, data science has started long back, man. The day when you started with your data. But how seriously you are handling your data is important now. Now, when this data is there, don't you think that it is your responsibility to give intelligence to your algorithm on which pattern it should confirm that this is employee number? At least previously we know that it is an employee number. But today, at least we should be in a position to say that you should learn from this pattern automatically that it is an employee number. Means it should tell you the label. Data is given by us. It should have such a kind of intelligence. It should read your data, analyze your data, and then finalize the label first of all. And after some n number of labels are identified, finally it should be in a position to tell what is the object of the data. Don't you think that this is really a more critical area of machine learning? Hello. So who will give the metadata to the modelman? Domain experts. You and I should tell. Means if it is an employee, how employee will be recognized in this world? Human being should say that. If it is with these properties and behaviors, if he is an employee, then which particular data is recognized as an employee number? We have to say that. Can you make your machine to work on unsupervised learning intelligently as a person in the domain of AML? You do not have knowledge on the domain area, man. So the model is learning, the model is not learning, the model is accurate or the model is not accurate. It is totally in the hands of who? Tell me. Human beings. So without human beings, can you expect any AI ML projects to get implemented, man? No. You try to become a human being who can be at that level of intelligence, understanding the technologies and program. Now, why you're getting feared like because of AI, I will lose my job? So if you give some number and if that number is really an employee number or not, your machine should know. Your machine should know from the raw data whether it is an employee number or not, it is a student number or not, it is a doctor's number or not. Now that doctor or student or employee, that intelligence, how machine will have? Is it not the human being who should really, that's nothing but you developers have to give all this intelligence now. You should build a model of that nature. You should build a model of that nature. So the model totally works here with unlabeled data. So what is the goal now? The goal is to find hidden structures or patterns within the data without any guidance on what the output should be. Check the challenge here. The goal is to hide the hidden structures or patterns within the data without any guidance on what the output should be. Don't you think that you come into unsupervised learning, majority of the projects are almost all nothing but one nearest level to the deep learning? People just keep unsupervised learning. They keep in the resume saying that I have experience and worked in unsupervised learning. We ask the definitions, they will tell. We give some data in front of them and we say, can you classify this particular data? Why it is unsupervised learn? It is suitable for supervised learning or unsupervised learning. Less than 10% people will tell that. So supervised learning is more easier or unsupervised learning is more easier, man? Supervised. So if you learned your AI, after AI, if you are moving into ML, then technically your responsibility is to see that you are at least first achieving supervised learning. Yes or no? Working on supervised learning for multiple different number of projects with great amount of domain and subject knowledge, then only you can work on unsupervised learning. Do you agree with me? Imagine you're not having proper learning roadmap. Don't you think that definitely your interviewer will understand before your resume gets shortlisted, checking in your resume, this is a fake? Be careful, be careful. Mistakes done from your side, why you blame your industries, man? Therefore, tomorrow, when I get into practical side, I am in which kind of machine learning, you should have clarity. I'm giving you the definitions here itself. Am I clear? What are the minimum algorithms you should be clear? We'll check. What are the key applications? Clustering and dimensionality reduction. Imagine in your resume, you're saying that has good knowledge of clustering and has been working with dimensionality reduction. You are simply telling the interviewer that you have worked on unsupervised learning. But I'm asking you the concepts of how did you do clustering? How did you do dimensionality reduction? Imagine you're unable to speak on that. What mathematical area is used for dimensionality reduction? What mathematical area is defined for clustering? You're not answering me. I think I'm already clear with my construct. You are which kind of ML guy? Therefore, when I take mathematics, I integrate to AI. From AI, I shift into ML. And within the ML, when I move into another levels, everything is a journey in a standardized state. Am I clear? We are not learning anything disconnected, man. We will learn everything interconnected. Even mathematics is not going to be core mathematics. It will be integrated mathematics to AI and ML. In that way, we will be moving. Here, don't you think that until you do not categorize your data, whatever you're having by proper properties, can you really identify the data belongs to what? First, the classification should come that the first column is employee number, the second column is employee name, the third column is jobs. Why not the job column can be considered with the values as employee names? Means employee names are what kind of special properties and behaviors that these are only the employee names. They cannot be jobs at any point of time. All this intelligence who should give? Man? The developer should give. Don't you think that this intelligence is something different than your application development intelligence, what you have developed till now in software development? Are you understanding why every software developer cannot become an AI ML developer? This is what top level companies since last 10 years were telling their senior people, man, change yourself. Nobody started thinking about it. They just started thinking like programmers only. Only programmer mindset cannot make you work for AI ML projects. I hope you're realizing it now. This mindset, how we should develop. You leave it on my shoulders. At least listen to what I'm trying to tell you and start getting yourself ready to change. So grouping customers into different segments based on the behavior of purchasing means he's a loyal customer or is not a loyal customer. Is he a recurring customer or is not a recurring customer? How you'll know? I know that he is a customer, but I want to know whether he is a loyal, high purchasing customer, low purchasing, medium. Depending on the purchasing behavior, I want to know that. So don't you think that you need to study the history of the data by patterns now? So when you come to unsupervised learning, man, the minimum algorithms that are expected from your k-means clustering and principal component analysis. Clear? Now, there's another kind of there's another kind of machine learning, which is called semi-supervised learning. Means it's in between the supervised and unsupervised learning, it will be there. The model is trained on a small amount of labeled data and larger set of unlabeled data. Means we'll be having a combination. Semi-supervised learning is often useful when labeling data is expensive or time consuming. Actually, no doubt, unsupervised learning can be very costly, yes or no? Because the more the history of the data you take, the more correctly you can give the labels. Am I correct? When such kind of situations are arising, what we will do is we'll take some small sample of data, taking the support of the domain experts and subject experts. We'll check what is the kind of data it could be, and we design the algorithm in the combination. Am I clear with you? So semi-supervised learning method can improve performance by leveraging the additional unlabeled data to form learning much easier. So be very clear and specific. It is a combination. It is a combination. If all these things are achieved very perfectly, then the next level will come, that is reinforcement machine learning algorithms. Reinforcements, you should understand. We have already developed a model now. Okay, we have already developed a model and we leave the model for practical implementation. When a model is going in practical side of its implementation, interacting with the environment, we'll start checking the consequence of actions. And according to that actions, we'll take the feedbacks, we give rewards and punishments, and the outcomes are once again judged. And then we cumulatively take the reward and we confirm this is the kind of data. Don't you think that is absolutely deep learning process now? The best is examples you can take is robot learning to navigate through a maze or a trial and error. Your game playing, autonomous vehicles, these all come under the construct of reinforcement learning. This is a roadmap, man. Are you getting me? So first we should learn AI, then get into supervised learning, then unsupervised learning, then semi-supervised learning, then reinforcement learning. It's a journey of anything not less than a targeted state of keeping 10 years down the line your process. We learn all these things, but you cannot say that all I will implement today only. Are you getting the point? Got the clarity? Keep this clarity in the mind. As we have been doing cross comparison table, I'll give you once again, man, and that will make you get through the things more easier. Day by day, are you getting the fundamental clarity of your roadmap? So as I already told you, from tomorrow, our meeting link will be changing, man. So don't use the same meeting link in tomorrow's class. It will not connect. So 30 minutes before the session, check your mailbox. You'll be having a meeting link there and click that and start connecting. Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Once again with you tomorrow. Have a nice day. Take care of yourself. Have a great day.